on? Am I on? Oh, I'm on. Whoa. You guys are so lucky I couldn't get to that bar because I had 3 more glasses of wine really quick and this talk could have gone downhill. I'm sweating. Sabrina was so sweet. She texted me this morning, I'm totally going to wash and blow your hair. Like, just come whenever you can. I'll squeeze you in. And I couldn't even get there. So this is happening. And as I sweat, it grows. It's on like a chia pet right now. But wow. So I'm a little blown away by that. And I wasn't planning on spending a ton of time on this. But really quick now, I just have to. I want to thank everybody who said something and everybody who literally has walked past me tonight and said, you're going to be amazing and we're so excited, because I don't know. I mean, I think everyone would feel the same way. You don't really know why someone would want to hear what you have to say. Not that I'm particularly insecure or anything, but my life is my life, and I think you guys are amazing, and I would love to hear what you guys have to say. So that being said, thank you to everybody who came up and had some comments, and thank you to my friends that are here and my Beaux-Arts Ford ladies that are here, and Shayla that is here, because that makes my heart happy. I think we should bring our girls to this. I've brought my daughter to almost every one of them, so keep that in mind for next year. But I want to say thank you to you guys, because everything I'm about to talk about, I couldn't pull it off without you guys, so thank you. And really quick, which I did plan to say, is a huge thank you to Kelly, because I'm normally the person up here at the beginning of all of this conversation, and I say, oh, thanks for being here, and then I get to get off and I get to enjoy what you guys are getting to enjoy. And so I don't want tonight to go without, I don't need to talk about the Beaux-Arts Ford part that I normally talk about, but I do need to talk about the thank you to Kelly part for another year of an amazing series and an enrichment. And, you know, she talked about the first time that we met, and Kim was saying to me, you gotta meet her, and everyone's saying to her, you gotta meet Letty, and we were just, I don't know, Karen was there. I don't even know that we talked about any details. It was just kind of one of those kindred spirit kind of thing. I'm like, I'm your girl, and you're my girl, and we're just gonna go do this. I don't know what we're gonna do, but we're gonna do it. And as we got into it, though, I figured out what we were doing, and she figured out what paths she wanted to take. And I remember I always, when we would go to coffee or lunch or whatever, I'm like, this is so good because it's enrichment. It's not just entertainment. It's not just networking. And it is a lot of those things as well, but it's enrichment. And I feel like she really put a puzzle piece into our community puzzle that just didn't exist before. She didn't replicate something else or try to kind of go do more of the same. She really created something that we didn't have. So thank you, my friend. Thank you. And really quick, we're all talking about the ladies. Melissa was up here from United Way and talking about our team, and I cannot not thank these guys back here because they're part of my Beaux-Arts Ford team too. And as she talked about how we've found a way to empower, our team and get, we're stronger if 200 people are working toward, the community objective than just 3 or 4 of us. But Jeff Young, who's back here behind the scenes, when it comes to that, is a great example of what we've been able to accomplish there, specifically when it comes to United Way. He just kind of said, this one's mine, and this is my passion, and this one resonates with me, and I'm gonna go. And so thank you. Thank you both for being part of this event. It means a lot to me to have you guys here, and especially thank you, Jeff, for being part of that, because I'm super proud when I hear about that kind of stuff. So, we're done with Beaux-Arts Ford. Whatever that for tonight. But as a true car industry professional, I do have a disclaimer, like those really fast words that at the end of the commercial that car dealers say. I am not a professional speaker. I am not a professional speaker, so please bear with me. I have some notes. It's like a little bullet points, and then I'm not going to read them to you, but I might go, I'm rambling, and come over here and get myself back on track and drink some of that wine. So, so just kind of bear with me. But anyhow, when I started to think about what I was going to talk about tonight, I did the thing. I was like, what? And I was so grateful. Like, all of these other speakers have been up here, and they have some very deep and dark stories and overcome really hard things in life, and I'm not really sure I've got that. And some of them have like huge triumphs, Olympians and things like that. I don't have that, clearly. So I'm like, what am I going to talk about? And then I'm like, what do people ask me about? Like, what do people ask me, right? What do they want to know? So men want to know, how much is my 1999 Chevrolet Silverado worth? And do you think I'm going to like the Ford better than that? I'm like, duh, yes, you're going to love it better than that. And it's probably worth a ton. so you should bring it into us. I'm kidding. I'm like, no, dude, go to Kelly Blue Book. That's what we all do. Like, we don't have any special secret sauce like that you guys don't have. It's all on the internet these days. So I'm like, check, we can handle that. Then I'm like, what do women ask me? Because clearly, women's event. What do women ask me? And the number one thing that I get asked is, how do you do all that? You're so busy. Do you ever go home? Like, where do you sleep? And how do you get it all done? And how do you find out that all that stuff's going on? And how do you get there? And where are your children? Like, who do you leave them with? Right? Over 20 years. I have a 20-year-old and 11-year-old. And so I've gotten a lot of like, I know you have kids, but where are they, right? And so pretty much all of those questions kind of fall under that, like, where does your energy come from? Where does what drives you? What is your drive to do what you do and live the life that you live? And then when I thought that, then I second guessed myself that might be what I talk about, because I'm like, I don't feel busy. Like, I don't feel overwhelmed. I don't feel like I can't do it all. So then I'm like, well, then I'm going to sound like an idiot, because I'm going to be like, it's easy, right? And then I'm like, well, time out. It's not easy. And the real reason, the real answer to that question, so I get that question, and I have a short answer, and I have a long answer, and the long answer is something I just really don't ever have a big audience to tell it to, right? So the short answer is, I don't really feel busy. I'm good. Like, I'm cool, you know? I'm good. But the long answer is that the reason that I can do it, that I can get it all done, is that everything that I do, all the actions, from family to work to entertainment to kind of everything, I house under this little umbrella of my why, of my purpose. And so in that regard, the things that I do, they are not exhausting, they're not taking away from me, but they're fueling me. And so it's like a churn, right? So I am better, I'm happier when I'm busy and when I'm doing. And it's not because necessarily I'm an overachiever. Maybe there's some, we all have a little bit of that in us. And, it's not necessarily because I'm trying to prove anything. Sure, I have a little bit of that in me. But really what it is that I have a why. And the reason I say why, I used to call it purpose. I think there's a book called like Purpose-Driven Life or something like that. Or, the purpose, a calling, all those different, words. But back in 2013 or 2014, Simon Sinek did a TED Talk, if you guys are TED Talk fans, that I watched about your why. And it was really kind of about business why. So trying to put your business model, create your business model around your why rather than around your what. So instead of what we do, which is sell cars and service cars and all that, wrap the business model around why. Why do you even have that business? Why have a car dealership instead of a hair salon? Or why, why? What's the reason? And wrap your business model around that. So I watched it for business reasons because I was interested in it, and it was, and it resonated with me on the business side of what we were doing. But then after I watched it, I was like, kind of resonates with me on the personal side too. That if I turn my focus to why I do what I do and why I live the life the way I live it, then maybe that's a better plan than me trying to get up every day, because every day for me is Groundhog's Day. I'm a Scorpio. I have a key hook. I don't put my keys on it. I can't find them. Every single day. I call Michelle. They came up here and talked, and I'm like, hey, what's my kid's social security number? Because we're at the doctor's office. Like, I don't have my stuff together. I don't. So I couldn't stand up here in front of you guys and be like, well, the reason I get it all done is because I have my stuff together, right? I don't. I don't even know their social security numbers. So, but I am able to kind of use those things that I'm doing, and as long as I stay under that umbrella of my why, then I seem to find my way, I find my fuel, and so I don't feel busy. And I actually, a lot of times will have, you're in conversations with your friends, with your coworkers, whatever, and somebody's like, oh my gosh, I have all this stuff, and I'm watching them, and I'm going, and I've been there, and my friends could say they saw this in me at times too. And I'm going, well, no wonder you're exhausted, because you're doing all that stuff. It doesn't matter, right? You're trying to please everybody. You're trying to do it all and all that stuff. And I'm looking at them going, you're so busy. How do you do it all? Because in my opinion, they're doing things that don't fuel them. So that's kind of what I want to talk about tonight. And I'm gonna go through kind of two sections, and one is about my why. My why is not going to be your why, because my why is based on my personal experiences, my childhood, my life, like things that have evolved for me. So there's no way that my why can be the same as your why. And I also want to kind of say, second disclaimer of the night for the car dealer in the room, is that as I talk about it, I felt kind of weird. As I was like practicing, I'm like, man, you really sound like you know what you're talking about. And I'm like, some of that stuff I learned when I was like 8, and some of it I learned like 2 weeks ago. So this isn't, if it comes out like, man, like she really got this together, like I just got it together, and I'm probably gonna lose it again once or twice, and I'm probably gonna get it together again, hopefully. So I don't want to come across like I'm any sort of professional, not a professional motivational, not a professional counselor, I have any social services education or skills. I got nothing really to offer you guys except for some ideas. So I want to share my why, and then I want to kind of talk about, because I think in this room, there's a lot of people who probably already kind of have a good grasp on their why. So I'm not here to talk about how do you go find your why. You know, like, hey, soul, let's go do some searching tonight, right? That's not me. But I do think for those of you who have it, or maybe kind of want to focus a little bit more on that in your life, I have some things that I do, which will be the second half, that keep me living with my why. Because it's one thing to know what it is, but I can literally sit and identify the periods of my life where I was just running circles, where I didn't have my purpose, where my focus, I might have known my purpose, but my focus wasn't on my purpose. And I can look back and be like, ooh, 2015, like you were a doozy, you know? Because I don't have a damn clue what I was doing. And I was not under the umbrella. Like that umbrella was like over there. And I'm calling Sabrina, I'm like, girl, I can't find my umbrella. Like I lost it, right? So anyhow, my why, so this is the starting point. My why has a name because I like it and it makes me happy and it reminds me of something super important to me. And my why is named Fred. And before I go into what it is, I'm gonna give you a little bit of backstory about kind of how I got there. My mom married my stepdad when I was 7 years old. I met him when I was 6, she married him when I was 7, he adopted me when I was 8. And he was this, we all have people in our lives that have these huge influences on us, you know, wherever, different parts of your life. But he was my biggest influence, my stepdad. And he was this big guy. He wasn't particularly warm. He was a little bit of a cool personality, but he was commanding. I mean, you listened. You did not listen to what he said, right? And he was this person that took me on, you know, as his stepchild, married my mother and took me on as his child, and had this impact on me that I wanted, and I almost emailed Kelly back. I'm like, I need help diving into this part, because I don't know that I have the words necessarily to explain to you guys the impact, but it was huge. I mean, it was just overwhelmingly huge in my life, how this person participated in my life. So, you know, we have, I think that the spectrum of step parents, like lots of us have them, some of us are them. The spectrum of step parents in our society is like, I'm sure that we've all seen the news and there's some terrible, terrible ones, right? But the good step parents, there's kind of a big spectrum. Like you can be a good step parent and like kind of fly under the radar and be loving and nice and stay out of the way of the other parent, because maybe that's that family dynamic. And the good spectrum goes all the way to the driving carpool and being at every basketball game, and you know, so there's this big spectrum of like good, socially acceptable step parents, you know, in the world that we live in. But my dad was like way over here on the side of like amazing, great step parent. And he loved me in a way that was, like I said, he wasn't warm and necessarily affectionate or whatever. He wasn't not affectionate, but he just wasn't overly affectionate. But he loved me in a way that was like more than he had to. I guess I always felt that a little bit as a little kid, as a teenager, as an adult. I was like, it's just so cool that he loves me more than he had to, you know? And he didn't love me more than my brother or necessarily different than my brother. As a matter of fact, he loved me the same way he loved my brother. So that, as when my brother and I are 12 years apart in age, so when he came along, I'm like, well, cool. Like, you know, I'm a teenager at that point, and I'm going, wow, that's so cool that never changed. It didn't go, oh, well, now I have a child of my own, so I see a difference in those loves or in those relationships. I didn't. He loved me, you know, as his own. And so, so he's a huge influence on me, and he He gave me opportunities that I wouldn't have had. My mom, my biological father, I can have great families. I was born in Palatka. That's still in me 100%. It comes out of my mouth on a regular basis. I do not like to wear shoes, and my feet are normally dirty. That is 100% attributed to my Palatka roots. And it's cool. I'm good with it. I'm owning that. But I had a great family. It wasn't like he went, like I said, I didn't have some major struggle that he rescued me from necessarily. I had a normal life. But he had never been married before, was in his late 30s, had just taken over Bozard Ford from my granddad. So he was kind of building his life, right? He was starting his professional career on his own, not working for his father. And he did well. He was a great businessman, and he did well in this community. So him and that provided me amazing opportunities, education, and opportunities to travel and go and see a world that I probably would not have been given or been able to have if I, had stayed on my path with my mom not knowing him. And so I grew up grateful for sure. I don't think I was like a spoiled brat necessarily. I was grateful, but I was kind of like, cool, I got this. He gave me a ton of confidence, right? Opportunities, confidence, and love. Those are the three things. If I had to tell you what did he give me in my lifetime, those are the three things. And I think that the confidence, it kind of outweighed everything else for a little while. So it definitely got to the point where I went to college and I was like, I just didn't think the rules applied to me, and I didn't really think class applied to me. I was like, I don't really have to go to class. I'm cool. I went to UCF, first time ever away, and I'm like, I got this. And then I got all D's, and I came home from that first year, and my dad was like, and he was never mad. I saw him mad 3 times in my life, and he didn't yell or get, he was just like, hey, so here's the thing, you're not going to go back there. And I was like, why? Because I was a little in la-la land. Like I said, I don't think I was completely removed or coddled, but I was kind of like, no, dude, I can do better next time. And he's like, nope, that's not what I'm doing this for. And I'm like, okay. And I was like, so I thought on it for, I don't know, probably 5 minutes, but maybe it was longer. I was like, I have an idea. I'm going to take a year off, and I'm going to find myself. I'm going to find myself. I'm going to soul search. And he said, all right, that sounds good. He said, well, you can't live here. He said, and that car you drive, you're going to have to leave the keys on the counter, and you can't drive that car. And I was like, and then I knew I had screwed up because I was like, he's so much smarter than me. I thought I was smarter for a minute. He's so much smarter than me, right? And I'm like, what are you talking about? You can kick me out? And he's like, I'm not kicking you out. He goes, I can't wait for you to find, where you're going to live, and I'm going to come visit, and I want you to come over for Thanksgiving, and we can't wait to see you and hear about what you got going on. And I'm like, shit, right? I'm over there all right, he's got me, right? So I'm like, no, I'll go back to school. What do you want me to do? He goes, I'm not going to put you back in school. He goes, you just can't go back there. I'm not sending them any more money because I was trying to give you an opportunity and you take advantage of it. And I was like, okay. So do not want to give up my car. And I do not want to move out because I do not have any money. And I am 19 years old. And I'm like, I do not have this. 15 minutes ago, I thought I had this, and I do not have this. So I'm like, I spend a day or two, and I come back to him, and I'm like, okay, I want to go to Flyer College. I don't want to go to St. John's. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I screwed up. I get it. You know how you try to make it up to your parents because you think you can talk them into making it up to them without showing any actions. And I'm like, I got it. So he's like, well, Flyer College's admissions they're done. Admissions is over. You can't sign up for Flyer College anymore. He's like, you can walk down there and ask them if they'll let you in if you want or whatever, So my confidence kicks back in, and I'm like, I got this. And I go down. I end up having to talk to Dr. Proctor. For those of you guys in the community that know him, my amazing father had called him beforehand to make sure he was specifically mean to me. And he wore me out for 2 hours. 2 hours of me having to beg and plead and talk my way into why he should let this self-absorbed, stupid, girl who has thrown away all of her opportunities that her family tried to give her into his college. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? But ultimately, I'm sure also from my amazing father, I got into Flagler College. So anyway, I ended up at Flagler, and through those next handful of years, by the grace of God, I think, it started to resonate. It started to sink into me that I actually had screwed up an opportunity that had been given to me. So whether it was because I was growing up a little bit or whatever, maybe it was because I had to work a little bit to get it done, but I don't think so. I think as I was growing up, I started to realize, like, you're screwing up here, because this person that you're very aware has given you this amazing love and these amazing opportunities, and you're just not doing anything with it. So through college in like my early 20s, I call it my baby why. So that's when I got my baby why, and it was like a little tiny umbrella that just covered my head, and I was like, I'm going to do everything I can with every opportunity that I get, right? No, let me take that back. I'm going to take advantage of every opportunity I get. I'm going to be the best student, and I'm going to get great grades, and I'm going to get a great education, and I'm going to make sure that I can go be successful, and then go on into my 20s, and I got married, and I'm going to be the best wife, and I had a child, and I'm going to be a great mom, and I'm going to make sure she has opportunities. So all my why was focused around like me and my people, right? And so I did that. I ultimately, which I'm not going to really get into, my dad got sick, and then I got divorced, like life happened, right? So life happened, and I ended up back here in St. Augustine to start work at Beaux-Arts Ford, and just very similar to Michelle, when she started, I didn't know a damn thing about the car business either, because I was over here doing La La Land, right, for the time I was growing up with this amazing guy. And so when I started to work alongside him as an adult, and I continued as an adult, maybe more so as an adult, he gave me like actual words of wisdom, right? As a kid, he just kind of led and you followed, and it was a great lead. But as an adult, he taught me tons of lessons, and I got more appreciative of him, and more maybe even dependent upon him as a reminder of what I wanted to do with my life, my why. And so as I got into my late 20s and right around 30, that's when I kind of I had this burning thing in me. I'm working at Beaux-Arts Ford. We have a little store right on US 1. I kind of got the ropes, and I'm a pretty quick learner, and I'll jump right into something and figure it out. So I'm in there, and I'm getting the guys to halfway pay attention to me at that point. I'm the only girl there in like the sales end or whatever. And I have this like burning thing in me where I kept everything I got involved in, whether it was Beaux-Arts Ford, whether it was some of my kids, whether it was something in the community. I just wanted to do more and more and more. And a little bit it was without rhyme and reason, but I knew inside me that I wanted to do more. And ultimately, I came, and it was in conversation with my dad, that I realized that what I wanted to do, my why, my purpose, like my guiding principle of my life actions. I'm not trying to get into the faith side. I'm not as my faith, and and I got all that part, but just my daily, what drives me, why am I going to be a mom of 2, living in St. Augustine, running a car dealership, why are you a wife and a mom of 5 and a real estate agent? Why? What is my why of what I'm doing? And my thing was, not only did I want to take any opportunities that I had already gotten, or any opportunities that came my way in the future, and make the most of them, because that's how I had been operating. I was like, I'm going to make the most of these opportunities. I wanted to make the most of them, and then take them and turn them and push them forward as more than what they came to be. More than what came my way, I wanted to push it out as more. And I told my dad, I said, it really comes from you, because, for lack of better words, he loved me more than he had to. And like I said earlier, he didn't love me more than he loved Bo, or more than, whatever. But he loved me more than he had to, and that always resonated with me, that I was blessed enough to have had this person who gave me more than was given to him. And because at that time he had not had a child given to him, so nothing that opportunity in life had not been given to him, and he turned around and gave me more than had been given to him. So that's my why: to take the opportunities that come my way, make the most of them, and then turn them back out in some way to be more to someone else. Pay it forward kind of concept, for lack of a better term or whatever. So some examples of that are, obviously I'm a parent and I was given the opportunity to go to college, so I don't want to just give my kids the opportunity to go to college. I want to give my kids the opportunity to go to college, right? But if there's a way in my life, Flyer College had a great impact on me. I ended up having a great experience at Flyer College after I got over my dumb self and actually paid attention. I had a great experience in the community of Flyer College. And so it's important to me, it is important to me for my children to have an opportunity for education, but it's also important to me, if I can, to work on and be part of things at Flyer College that give other kids opportunity, because that's my more, right? So that's my, I'm going to get into more of this in just a second, but that's my, how do you have the energy when you have all this, you're going to go serve on that board? How do you have the time, right? Because I'm going back to my original question that I get asked. Well, the answer is I have the time because that extra hour for that board meeting is under my umbrella of my why. It's me being able to take an opportunity I was given and turn it back over as more and pass it back out. So Beaux-Arts Ford's the same way. The opportunity that I was given, like Michelle said, was a small dealership on US 1, and we had 40 employees, and we sold about 100 cars a month, and it was great. I mean, I personally consider myself one of the luckiest people in the world to just get a car dealership, right? But I didn't want to just sit and go, cool, this is what I have, and it's this big, I didn't want to grow it because I needed more money. I didn't want to grow it. Now, do I want us to be more profitable? Of course I do. And I understand that every business out there has a mission statement that somewhere in it says that we're trying to increase the, profitability for our shareholders. I got you. Right? And we focus on that. But it's not our why. So as we built Beaux-Arts Ford, and I've been super lucky, super blessed to have an amazing team, starting with my dad, my brother, Mike Shad, Jeff King. I mean, I have these people that have come along the way, some even that have come and gone, that understood that we weren't going to grow it just because we wanted to grow profits. We were going to grow it because we could take what it was in 2003, when I started there, 2002, and we could employ more people who could support their families, and we could have more economic impact on this community. We could, from the standpoint of creating jobs and that, increasing revenues for people so they could go out and spend their money. That's economic impact. And also, which we've talked about a lot tonight, which I thought was so cool that that's the way that we went tonight, was the community piece, that if we grew Beaux-Arts Ford, we could go and do more in the community as a corporate citizen. So again, I don't feel like I'm busy when we do all of that, because that's what fuels me, to kind of stay under that umbrella. Same with my family, same with my kids. My kids are, and there may be some folks in here that their why is somewhere around their children, or, whatever. Mine's not, but that doesn't mean that I don't adore them, and but they are under my umbrella of my why. They're not my actual why, right? And that's just me. That's how mine rolls. So my kids, they're funny, or people would say to me, so I'm the same as everybody else, right? I'm gonna let my kids invite extra friends because we're gonna go to the CPS fair tonight, and I gotta go and stop by the dealership to drop something off, and I have to make it to the bank before 5, but then we can go to the festival, but we gotta get home in time because I gotta get up in the morning because Grace has a volleyball tournament in Orlando, and we have to leave at 6:30, and I have to get down there, and I have to sneak out to send emails because there's no Wi-Fi in the convention center, but I have to sneak out where she can't see me because I wanna be super mom, right? And I don't want her to know I'm working during volleyball, but I'm totally working during volleyball, and I have to find her a ride home because I have to leave an hour early because I got to get back to St. Augustine before she can get back to St. Augustine because I have a gala to go to, right? Those are the times when I get thanks to Facebook, I get, you're so busy, because I document all that shit, right? I want y'all to know, look what I did. Look what I did in the last 24 hours, you know? And it was fun. But everybody has that. All of you have that. In some degree, you have those days where it's just piled up on you. And for me, you know, there's been things that I do that really, truly, maybe even I'm like, how are you going to do that? You know, I've taken on 2 foreign exchange students. And when you're taking a foreign exchange student, it's an extra kid in your household. They're not visiting. You still have to buy them groceries. You have to take them to their sporting events. Sometimes they go to a different school than your kids go to, right? But you take them on. But at the end of the day, I was given an opportunity to travel when I was younger. I was given an opportunity with my parents to go and see places. My kids have been now given an opportunity to go and see places. And if it takes this much more energy out of me to have this child come in and live in our home and they get to come and experience something that I can give to them with my energy, then it's under my umbrella. I had an opportunity, I made the most of it, but then I turned around and I gave it back in a way that was more than maybe what I had to. So back to he loved me more than he had to. So the reason I give you guys all those examples is to kind of show you that they're random. They're everything from going to the fair to buying businesses. They're all opportunities to me. And I really work to keep my brain wrapped around life as opportunity. And then I can make those opportunities do, you know, what my why's all about. So I'm gonna visit my notes for 1 second to make sure I'm on track. I have no idea how long I've been talking. So kind of wrapping up the part about my why before we turn to the other stuff, I do have kind of 2, like I call them guiding principles, and we use that at work with our mission statement and our guiding principles. And I have 2 personal guiding principles that help me, that are specific to my why. They help me to make sure that as I do the tasks of life, as I go through the days and as I make the drives and as I go to the meetings and as I do whatever, that I am able to see how those things fit under my umbrella. And they come directly from Fred. And ultimately, I think that's why I always call it that. I'm like, it's my why, but I don't want to call it my Fred because it's weird sounding. But they come directly from him. And the first one is unconditional love. I think I've been pretty clear about how I feel about how he loved me. I feel like that love is probably one of the greatest loves that we have in the human interaction. When you say unconditional love, obviously it means without condition. So the condition that I wasn't his biological child did not matter. That condition was not there, it did not exist. So in my opinion, he really showed me one of the truest types of unconditional love, right? It's a pretty huge condition when you meet someone and they have a kid, right? You're like, that one's yours, this one's mine, right? But that's not how he went about it. So unconditional love is a guiding principle for me. It comes from him, but I'm not just talking about how I love my children or how I love my family or anything like that. I do put it in there. I do believe that if you can really wrap your head around unconditional love, that it makes life more fun. It makes life better, right? That's how you can enjoy, you can have adventure, you can have, you know, fun times and good times with unconditional love. You can fight with unconditional love, right? Fights with unconditional love, in my opinion, are way better than fights without it, because at the end of the day, I am mouthy, and I am going to say some stuff I don't mean, and I am going to take it back as soon as I realize what I did. And I'm going, man, I sure hope you really love me, right? I hope that unconditional love is there, because I probably wasn't really nice a couple minutes ago, and I have that in me. You know, I'm full of flaws. We're all, you know, we all have, you know, we're all amazing and we're all full of flaws. So I do definitely keep it in my family, but that's obviously the easy, in my opinion, kind of the easy place to put it. Like you love your people, right? But I'm going to digress for 1 minute or two, because this actually was I almost did my whole talk about what I'm about to say, but I felt like maybe it would have been, I don't know. I felt like this was more of letting you guys have a chance to get to know me than just going into this, but I want to say it because I think it's crazy important. We have a lot of business owners in the room, a lot of business people in the room, a lot of sales professionals in the room, a lot of professional women in this room. And if you are not putting love into your workplace, you are missing out on profitability. 100%. There are books out there. I'm not up here to kind of say like, oh, go down this path, but there's great books out there about love in the workplace. And there is a business model that can be built around having love infused into your work, into your workplace, into your work relationships. And so that's something for me that's been a huge guiding principle. It's made work not feel like work. So now work fuels me. And I'm not like, I have to go to work, right? And then the question of how do you get it all done? I don't know. I just go because it's amazing. I don't have, because there's love there. There is love infused in it. There's love in hiring. There is love in firing. I'm telling you, there is. And I should say there can be. It's possible. It can be profitable, and it can be very, very, very enjoyable. So maybe that's a topic one day for a retreat session or something like that. And it's not me. I'm not the speaker on that, but Kelly's making notes back there.
Okay, yes, we'll make it happen. Sorry.
I'm sure there's somebody amazing out there we could find to talk about it, because it, in my business, in the car business, it was unheard of. The auto industry has made huge strides in becoming more friendly, and to some degree, and I'm super proud of Ford Motor Company for it, to start to work on the concept of putting love in there. But in our industry, typically it wasn't, not only was it not there, it was like, you are nuts. Like I was told plenty of times, like, you are crazy. You're gonna tell those guys you love them, and what if they don't sell enough next month and they don't work there anymore? Well, I still love them. It's not my fault they didn't sell enough. And as long as I gave them the tools and the support, right? I got you there. But so anyhow, so unconditional love. Guiding principle number 1 is unconditional love for me. And I put it into everything. And it helps to remind me, as I do the things I do with love, I'm going, yep, fits under my umbrella. Totally fits under my umbrella. I'm on my path. And the second one is integrity. My dad told me, if you don't have integrity all the time, you don't have it. And that is hard, because none of us have integrity all the time. And I'm like, you don't have integrity all the time. And he's like, yes, I do. And then once again, I thought I was smarter than him. And I'm like, oh crap, he kind of did. But I don't, right? I've had times, there were early on when I started to work at the dealership and he was still there. There were times when I was like, I'm so smart. Like, we can skate this system over here. He's like, all right, cool. Well, when you do that, you're going to spend 10 times the time fixing the stuff that you screwed up when you should have just done it the right way in the first place, right? So we all make mistakes. I make mistakes. I make plenty of them. But I do put integrity on a huge, huge pedestal. And I try to make sure that it doesn't get, that the idea of it and the focus on it doesn't get very far. So I wanted to share those two things with you, because I feel like it's kind of unrealistic to be like, I know my why, and then like, but I go live over here like this, and not to make a connection. So for specifically my why, I've got those two things that keep me pretty close and keep me pretty grounded, to understanding my why. And so now I'm going to switch gears to, how do you live through the days that I'm at the fair, at the volleyball game, at work, at this, that? How do you live through the days and not so this kind of goes into like, whatever your why might be, right? For those people who kind of know it, or really strong in it, or maybe somebody who's like, I'm pretty sure I know it, how do you live with it? How do you go every day and stay under that umbrella? Because like I said, I can pick out the times when my umbrella was folded up and over there and I was a mess, right? So how do you go about keeping yourself focused on your why, which is different than the guiding principles. The guiding principles are core, like the things I do have to have those things in them, right? That's my responsibility to put those things into my life. But how do you stay focused? How do you make sure you're stayed focused so that what you're doing, the actions, are turning around and churning that fuel, to not be exhausted, to not feel, not that I don't get tired, but to not feel, I have to go do that, right? I can't remember the last time I said I have to go do that. Well, I don't like the grocery store at all, and I don't like to pump gas. So there's that. Those 2 times I might be like, for like a minute. I'm like, they don't, if I could get them out from under my umbrella, like if my car could magically have gas in it, I'd pay double because I don't want to stand there at that stupid pump. When I was a kid, I got in trouble one time because, I wasn't planning to tell you all this, but I had, St. Augustine was a lot smaller, and so my rules when I turned 16 was I was allowed to go, we lived on the island, I could go over the Bridge Alliance or I could go over the 312 bridge, but either time I had to turn right. I don't know, it was my dad's geographical boundary of where I could drive, right? Well, I found out that Jacqueline & Son's gas station, if I turned left, had full service gas, and I had a Chevron card. So I just take my ass down there to them, and I didn't have to get out of the car and pump my gas, right? Well, clearly, this is how naive I was. I don't think I was ungrateful, but I was naive. I had no clue my dad was going to get a bill at the end of the month. I'm 16. So the statement comes, and here's all my charges. I go across the 312 bridge, I turn left, I go to Jacqueline's, they fill my tank up, and I drive to school. My dad gets the bill. He's like, what about that whole you don't turn left thing? I'm like, oh, come on, they have full service gas. He's like, cool, well, you're not going to need any gas, put your keys on the counter, right? So I lost my car for a month, and I figured out I was probably going to do what I'm told. But anyhow, I don't like to pump gas to go to the grocery store. I might have a moment right there. But the rest of the time, as busy or as much as it takes to get it done, that we all have to get it all done, I don't really have a ton of, because the things I'm choosing to do are fueling me. So I kind of have three little takeaways for whatever your why is. I think that they apply because these are not specific to my why. They're just kind of like things that I do, things that I've learned to do over the last 10 or 15 years of running the dealership and raising my kids and living my adult life. Things that I do that help me. So the first one is a statement that one of my granddad's friends actually made to me one time because I don't know, for some reason he was just somebody I could really talk to or whatever, and I would go to him with all my ideas because my dad and my granddad are sitting over there. I'd say, oh my gosh, I have this great idea, and they would go, we did that in 1982 and it didn't work. I'm like, yeah, but it's not 1982 anymore, and I have ideas. So I would bounce them off of this family friend. He was great, and he said to me one time, he said, you know what? You're amazing. He's like, I love you. He's like, you can do anything you want to do, but you cannot do it all at the same time. You are trying, because I was in there, and this is a Beaux-Arts Ford example, I'm in there going, I'm going to fix the service department, and I'm going to grow the sales department, and I'm going to buy this building, and I'm going to build this other thing, and I'm going to make everybody love each other, and we're going to sell our car. I was doing it all, every day, all day. And so he said that to me, and it always stuck with me, and I was like, maybe he's onto something there, because I'm doing a lot and accomplishing a little. Accomplishing a little, I didn't ever feel like I was roadblocked or that I couldn't do it, but man, did I go home tired because of all of the action I took and all of the effort I put in to not accomplish it all, right? I felt like I'm going to do it all, so let me accomplish it all, and it didn't work that way for me. So one of the things that I kind of hold on to is you can do anything. I'm never going to be anybody's dream killer. I got people walk up to me and they're like, we had a general sales manager one time. He's like, he was retiring, and he's like, I'm going to go join the World Series of Poker, and I'm going to play poker for the rest of my life. I'm like, go! That's going to be amazing. I knew that shit wasn't going to work. But he didn't, what? But he did it. He did it for 2 years, and he loved it. And then he came back and got back in the car business. And I love him dearly. But, I'm always going to push someone to stream. You can do anything you want to do, but the idea that you can do it all. And I think that applies a lot to moms. And that kind of goes back to my balance comment. We're not all going to be the same mom, right? I've said this before. I don't remember what event or what we were talking about. It might have been the speakers panel that we did back in January, but I am not the science fair mom. My kids' science fair projects sucked. Bad. Like, they had the three trifold board with crayon, and I would go to my sister-in-law's house and I'm like, please do their science fair project for them. She's a teacher. I'm like, tell me you have stickers and borders and color markers. I don't have that. And that wasn't my thing, right? But I know that there are those of us who try to be the science fair mom and to be the professional mom and to be all of the different moms. Well, I just had to figure out I was going to be the mom that I was going to be. and bring, my strengths to them and let them get to know me and just be the mom that I was, Now, there were times, and my kids are 9 years apart, I was maybe a better mom for one than the other in different avenues, and there were times, hopefully, that I got to be a better mom. But the idea, that first one is really kind of on the mom side for me, less professional, more mom, that you can do anything, but you can't do it all at the same time. So the second thing is to challenge yourself. Sabrina brought it up when she was talking for a minute that about 3 years ago, I bought this racing program, which was random, but amazing, and totally outside my wheelhouse, and all of my friends were like, what? And second question, well, first was, what? Second one was, how are you gonna do that? You don't have time, right? When are you gonna go do that? I'm like, I don't know, but I went to the races last weekend and it was cool as shit. And it's cool, and I'm gonna figure it out, and I wanna do it, right? So the challenging of yourself, for me, and I'm gonna kind of give you the back to my why, right? I was able to go and find this new opportunity, and I didn't just get a race car and put it in the garage and we went to the racetrack on the weekends. In 3 years, we built a national program. I'm, my typical self. Like, I want to do more. I want to pay it back more. I want to let more people get involved. And we take younger guys with us when they're on break. They want to go to the races with us. And there's a whole industry out there, it's a huge sport. Racing's a huge sport. And so it is something that fell under my umbrella, but it's also something that reminded me about my why. So it definitely falls under the umbrella of my why. But it helped me in time to remind me why I live this way, why I get excited, why I want things in my life that fuel me. Because there can come a time, we had built a new dealership, we built our quick lane. I always had these projects going. For 15 years I had projects, and then all of a sudden I don't have any projects anymore. And I didn't really forget about my why, but I'm going, I'm down, like look at me, I'm not busy, right? I'm not busy for a second. So for me, since I live the way that I live, the busy is what was fueling me, so I had to go out and find things. I had to find new things and challenge myself. So challenging yourself is kind of my second thing. And then the third one, the last one, and the most important one to me, is to literally put it in front of you all the time. To find things or people, or music, or books, or posters. I love it now that I used to do it on my own forever, but I love it in the last 5 or 10 years, the trend of all of the sayings and the stuff that we all hang on our walls now. Like, I love that, because there used to be a picture of like some trees, or like I go to my grandparents' house, there's weird like English dog like pointers running through the fields. I'm not even English, like what is that, right? But it was beautiful, I'm sure. But I put things in front of me. I wear these bracelets on my arm almost every single day. One of them says inspire, because that's our vision statement at Bozard Ford is driven to inspire. And it kind of keeps me kind of focused on that piece of my work. One of them says she believed she could, so she did, which is just a quote that I've always loved since childhood. And the other one, I can't tell you what it says because it's not PG. But it reminds me of my roots. But I put them in front of me, and I read things, and I place things, and I choose specifically the music that I play in my car, and I take the time to listen to that music, and and probably the most important thing of the list that I just went through of the music and the books is the people. Who you choose to surround yourself with, who you choose to give your strengths to, and your willingness. This is the thing, remember when I said I learned some stuff when I was 8, and I just learned this like a couple weeks ago? Who you allow to help you, that you take help, that you don't try to be superwoman or super mom or super boss. Who you surround yourself with, your circle, is probably, for me, the most resounding reminder, of my why. And all of that is very deliberate, and I'm going to kind of close on the concept of deliberate and talk a little bit about that, because if there was one word I could use to describe Fred, it would be that he was deliberate. From his life, how he lived, how he loved me, he deliberately chose to love me a certain way. He deliberately chose to live his life a certain way, which taught me to deliberately choose to live my life a certain way. And when it comes to the things like the music and the books and what the nuggets are that you fuel yourself with, that you feed yourself with, and like I said, most importantly, the people that you surround yourself with, you can be deliberate about that. You can. I got you. We all have a family member that's challenging. We all have a coworker that's challenging. We got that, right? But you can deliberately choose to mend it, to fix it, to make it better, or at least make it, palatable, right? And also to make sure your life is padded with those people that you're deep. Your bench needs to be deep of good, right? Of good people. And that to me is like kind of the biggest reminder of my why, because I can be like, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna take my opportunities, I'm gonna turn them around, and I'm gonna give them back out. And you know what happens? I do it, and I do it, and I do it, and I come somewhere like this, and you guys say amazing things about me. Or I call one of my friends, and then she says, I'm so proud of you, right? Or my kids say, I'm proud of you. Or my family, says that, I'll tell you guys that, one of the greatest compliments I ever got was that my sister-in-law told me one time, she's like, you changed the way I thought about some things. And, that is a result of the people that I have around me, and they're going to feed me back, and they're going to be. You can get not deliberate about that and just let people wave on through, and a lot of them are going to be takers. They're not going to, they're not going to fuel back into you. So I'm going to leave it at that. I probably talked way too long. I have no idea how long I've been up here. I think you're coming up here with me.
I am going to come up.